I'm Ramona Pringle. I am the director of the Creative Innovation Studio at FCAT at Ryerson University. And I want to welcome you to Communities Create. If this is a return for you, if you're a returning participant, welcome. It's great to have you back. If you're new, welcome. We hope this is the first of many. This is now our fourth session. We did a wonderful photography session week 1, followed by podcasting. Last week was comedy and improv with Second City. They've all been great. They've all been really interactive. We've all felt so good at the end of all the sessions. And this is guaranteed to be another really wonderful session. The goal of Communities Create is to both support members of the creative community and to leverage those creators to help unify Canadians when we're all going through so much and feeling so much, to be able to express ourselves, express how we're feeling, how we're coping through creativity, through creative output, and also have the opportunity to just gather in real time. I think one of the things that we've really been noticing week by week is that, you know, we're in back-to-back Zoom calls, but there's something different about gathering with a bunch of people to do something creative together, that it does feel like we're in sort of shared virtual space. It may not be Minecraft or Animal Crossing virtual space, but it does feel like space sort of opens up and we're all together. So welcome to being part of that experiment, part of that experience. And we will begin. Today's workshop is a singing workshop for the body and the mind. Before we get started, I'm just going to go over some basic ground rules, and this is so that you have the best possible experience and so that everyone else who's participating has a great experience as well. The first thing that I'll say is you want to find the thumbnail that says Communities Create and pin it. So depending on how many participants are live in a session, sometimes you need to scroll through your windows to find that Communities Create thumbnail. Once you've found that, in the top right corner, there's 3 little dots. And if you click on those dots in the drop-down menu, there's the option to pin the video. And what this means is you'll be following along the live show. You won't miss any of the content that is intended for you or that's by design in the experience. So that's the first thing. The second thing, as important, if not more important, is to try the exercises yourself. The whole point of this is that it is live, it's interactive, you can get feedback, it's fun to do all together. Next, use the chat to comment and ask questions. If you're in the, if you're in one of our coveted live Zoom spots right now, the best way to engage is to ask your questions over in the chat, and we'll get back to you when there's moments to be able to do some of the response in here. I also want to say hi to everyone who's watching the live stream. I know every week we've had more and more people who are not necessarily in the Zoom session, but watching our live stream, which is great. We really hope you'll participate as well with the people who are inside the interactive session. So introduce yourself, play along, and ask questions. The best way to do this is using the Communities Create hashtag, which is hashtag Communities Create on Twitter, and we will try to get to as many of you as possible as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on what's going on Twitter throughout the session, so that even if you're not inside the session right here, but if you're watching the live stream, you can be participating live. Next, for those of you who are in the session, just a few technical rules. Your microphone will be muted. You've been muted on entry, but the moderators who are working in the session will unmute you to participate. And if you have a question to ask, any audio is recorded and archived. And your video also is controlled by you and viewable by other participants. So if you're feeling shy and you want to keep your video off, that's totally fine. You're in control. But I think there's something really lovely about being able to see everyone's face, kind of scroll through, see what everyone else is up to, especially when we're doing exercises together. So by all means, if you want other people to see you in the session, keep your video on. I will note your video won't be recorded. So, you're only turning it off if you don't want others in the session to see you, but it's not like your video is being recorded. So that's the basic tech, that's the basic ground rules for the best experience. There are a bunch of people on this call. Our wonderful artist host for today is Lauren Dillen. There's also Guillermo Acosta from Humber College, who I'll introduce in a moment. But first I want to introduce Diana Breacher. Diana is the head of our mental health group with Communities Create. And one of the reasons we're doing this is to give people a creative outlet for their emotions. So I'm going to hand it over to Diana right now to just tell us a little bit about your role here, Diana.
Thanks, Ramona. Welcome, everyone. My name is Diana Breacher. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I am here to support the process. So after the session is over, we're going to provide some time that's not recorded for anyone who, for whatever reason, has a strong emotional response to what we've been doing, and they feel it would be helpful to unpack it. In addition, I've also, with the team, we've created some resources that are available on the Communities Create webpage for you. So if you wanted to seek some additional supports in the city that are virtual, you're welcome to check that out as well. And I just want to say, you know, we're here, really excited to be part of this, and happy to chat with you at the end. I have 2 graduate students who are participating with me as well to provide support. That's Amy and Rachel, and we'll all be sticking around at the end. So have a wonderful workshop. Thanks.
Thank you, Diana. So as she mentioned, she and her team are around at the end. That part of the session is not streamed, it's not recorded, it's just a time for a bit of a debrief, a bit of a conversation if you want to stick around a lot. And I will say they're always very interesting. So I suggest that you stay and chat with Diana and her team as well a little bit. Now I'd like to introduce Guillermo Acosta. He's the Senior Dean of the Faculty of Media and Creative Arts at Humber, was one of our first supporters, one of our first partners on In Communities Create. So Guillermo, maybe a few words from you about your reason for joining the initiative, what Humber's most excited about, and then I'll ask you to introduce Lauren.
Thank you, Ramona. And yes, when Ramona and I have been talking for a number of months in a number of different initiatives. And one of the things that excites me about this one is that the opportunity to get together and the opportunity to explore these new communications forms and these new art forms that are being created because of COVID-19. I'm the kind of person that I see opportunities everywhere. And once Ramona started talking with me about this, I said, you know what, we are in. We want to explore, we want to experiment, and we want to bring opportunity to people and to understand that regardless of everything that we're going through, there are many good things happening now, and it is worth showcasing. And Ramona and I are of the mind that if we are better together, and when we work together, things get much better. So happy to be part of this, and happy to be promoting some of our talent. And in that sense, I want to pass the screen. I can't say pass the floor, but I want to pass the screen to Lauren Dillen, who is our artist for today. And I think she has prepared a fabulous workshop for all of us to enjoy and continue growing. So Lauren, back to you. Thank you.
There we go. Welcome to the workshop. My name is Lauren, and I'm a 4th year music student at Humber. I am a songwriter, and I write songs about nature and my experience, my human experience. And I'm in a couple of Toronto bands, one called Burrs and one called Miss Me. And I've learned a lot through being a part of those things, and getting to study at Humber, study in their jazz program, and I've taken a lot out of it, and I'm going to share that stuff with you all today. So thank you for joining me, and thanks to Communities Create for having me. This is a pleasure. So this workshop is advertised as a choir workshop, and obviously that's going to be a little bit difficult because we're not all together in the same room, but I'm going to try my best to facilitate it as if we were in the same room. So as was mentioned by Ramona, if you have a question to me at any time about what I'm talking about, technique or anything, just put a little message in the chat, and you will be unmuted and you can ask that question, because I am looking to help you guys as much as possible throughout this. So yeah, let's get started then. About the workshop, it's called Letting Go, because I've found that to be a term that trails through singing as well as life, and to deal with stress and how to live in the world. That's been a nice weaving together of a theme lately. So it's going to be letting go physically. Our bodies are our voice, and we're gonna let the sound flow out, let the sound go, let our bodies go. Mentally, we're gonna try to let go. So what you'll need for this workshop is some water. Get yourself some water, because we're going to be doing some moving around and some stretching. If you've got a yoga mat, that's a good thing to have With you, other options are just a towel, or if you've got a nice place on your carpet that you can do some stretching on. And yeah, just your body. I really, really encourage you guys to try these things with me, because they feel good, and then you'll be singing better later, because that's what we're all here to do. So a little breakdown of the actual workshop when we get started is we're going to talk about physical connection to our breath. So breath is the foundation of singing, and really I would argue that's where the voice is coming from. You don't have a lot of facility in your voice if you don't have, you know, a strong breath. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that properly in a singing context. We're going to do some stretching, and maybe a little bit of yoga stuff. I've been really into yoga because I've had nothing else to do with my time. So yeah, we'll do that. Then we're gonna move on to producing sound. I'm gonna talk about placement, vocal placement. So the head voice versus the chest voice, and a mixed voice, and what is the best option for singing, and what we're trying to go for. I'm gonna talk briefly about, you know, letting go of your inhibitions around singing, because it is a vulnerable thing, because it's coming right from you. It's right in your body. It's not like we have an instrument to be in front of or be behind, I guess. This is all us. So it's a sensitive thing. And then the last thing we're gonna do is sing all together. And I've picked a song for us to sing, and then I'll talk about it later, but we're gonna get you guys to record a little video and create a choir digitally, using technology, which will be fun. Yeah. So yeah, just one more thing. If there are distractions around, you might hear like things going on outside. It's springtime, and you know, people are cleaning and lawn mowing. So don't worry if you've got distractions. And yeah, let's just try and be present with each other for this time. So I'm gonna ask if you can, for this next little bit, while we go through this workshop, put whatever pressing thing is in your life in a little box, put it on the shelf, try to forget it, and just try to, you know, be here with me for this entire time. Let that thing go, acknowledge it, and then let it go. And yeah, I guess we will start. So let's find yourself on your floor or your mat, wherever you are, and I'm gonna make sure you can see me. The first thing we're gonna talk about is breath. So when we're breathing, for vocals, it's a good thing. We're gonna get silly. You might see my belly, but that's fine. That's what it's all about. When you breathe, a lot of people, if I say take a big breath, they'll go, and we lift our shoulders and we tighten up. And that's actually the opposite of how we're trying to breathe when we're singing. So what it looks like for vocals is you're expanding out this way, sort of in all directions. You're gonna breathe in, and you're gonna breathe almost as if it's skipping your throat and your chest, and you're breathing right into your stomach and your ribs and your back. And you're gonna feel an expansion. So do that with me as I breathe. You're inhaling, and then you're exhaling, and you should feel a total expansion all the way around. My vocal teacher calls it barrel breathing, like you're breathing into this barrel and you're exhaling. The important thing, though, is to not, you know, raise your shoulders and your chest. This is the relaxed part of your breath, and the rest of it comes from down in here. So I'm gonna set up my camera so I can see how you guys are doing it. If anybody wants to join me, oh, nobody's got their video on, but if you want to have your video on, please do, so I can, you know, see what's up. Yeah, so we're breathing and we're expanding. And just do that a couple of times. Breathe in and let it out. It should be really controlled. You're almost contracting your ab muscles and you know, making that tight. So that's what the breath looks like. I'm not there to your guys' bellies and see what you're actually doing. But the best cue to think about is your shoulders and your chest not rising. So another visual, honestly, this part is the hardest part of singing. It took me until really recently to get this, and I'm in my 4th year of school. When you're breathing, pretend this is your breath. You breathe in here, and it goes out, and it expands out. So in, straight down, and that's where you become the barrel at the bottom of that breath. So now I'm gonna get you guys to do the same thing. Lie down on your mats though, and try it like that. So I'll give you, this is what it'll look like for me. And then you can see the visual of that breath a little bit better. So when you breathe in, this whole area is just gonna rise up, and that'll be the only thing. Remember to get into your sides and your back, your lower back, and the back of your rib cage. And just take a second. You can put your palms out or your hands on your stomach. I'm gonna give you guys a minute just to breathe there, like that. Another way of thinking of it is if you just laid on your back and you didn't decide not to breathe, and see how your body does it naturally. So I'm not gonna breathe, I'm just gonna let my body do it. So do that for a minute. I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute to do that by yourselves. Pretend I'm not around, just, experience that moment for yourself for a sec. If you have any questions about that, now's a good time to ask them while we're just practicing. And if you're sitting up, if you don't have anywhere to lie down, you can still do it sitting up in a straight position with some good posture. All right, could I ask you guys to sit up? How did that feel? If it's a little bit difficult, if you didn't quite get it, don't worry, because as I said a little bit earlier, I didn't get it until really recently. So yeah, hopefully that felt good, and hopefully you can remember to do that. I'll keep reminding you throughout the workshop, because in every one of our exercises from here on, we're going to try to remember that breathing, that type of breathing. So let's keep going. What we'll do now is we're going to do a full body stretch. As I said earlier, your voice is your body. And I wake up sometimes and I can't sing, or it's really difficult for me to sing. And by halfway through the day, even talking will be painful for me. And that's something I've been dealing with as I, become a real, I don't want to say a real singer, but as I do that every single day, as my school has me doing. Even now, when I'm just, in regular life, I'll find that I'm not using my voice as well as I should be. But that is maybe a me thing because I'm singing all the time. But a good thing I've been doing lately is trying to warm up every single day in the morning. If you are somebody who sings in a band, or if you're singing all the time, even speaking is using your instrument, unfortunately, because you've got to pay attention to it and you have to take care of it. So we're gonna stretch basically our whole body, and we're gonna try to totally relax, because that'll allow your body to take care of the production of the sound rather than it all coming from here. And that's where we create some vocal damage. So let's start by sitting cross-legged, or however you feel like, just on the floor on your mat. We're gonna start with some neck stretches. So one that I like to do is your ear to your shoulder, and slowly we're gonna swing our head all the way around, but real slow. So your chin goes to your chest. And if you're lucky, you'll feel this all the way through your back. Some days I wake up and I feel it way lower than I should, but it's a good cue that you should be doing these. And your other ear is to your shoulder now. We'll go back. Chin to chest. You should still be sitting up tall and straight. And remembering that barrel breath, that singing breath. I don't go back. I don't stretch back this way. Actually put some strain and tension on your vocal cords. So it's not a good idea to do that. But the front version of it is totally great. So find yourself to the original ear to shoulder position that you find yourself in first. You're gonna just lightly put some pressure on your head. And you'll feel that from your jaw all the way down into here. Once you're there, we'll wait for a couple of seconds. You're gonna open up your jaw. Don't push it. But I deal with a lot of tension right in here. So we're here. And just notice what's going on in there. All right, let's do the other side. Ear to shoulder. And then open up. As soon as I do that, I wanna, massage up in here. So give yourself a little cheek massage. One thing that my teacher, my voice coach told me that if you bite down, don't do it hard, and you feel a little ball where your jaw connects to your skull, which most of us should, and then you open up your jaw and your mouth and still feel that ball, that should maybe go away. So that's a little, this is never a place that we focus on, but yeah, your neck will become really stiff if you don't pay attention to it. So yeah, open up that, put your fingers there, and open up your jaw, and you can that'll give you a little indication if you're holding some tension in there. So while we're around here, give yourself a little face massage. This is my favorite, this one. Sinuses. Just give yourself, put some real pressure on that. It feels so great. It feels even better if you have somebody else do this for you. So if you've got a partner, ask them to do this for you later. It just is so relaxing. Your temples, give your temples a nice massage. And then past your jaw, sort of in this area underneath your ears. On both sides. Just give yourself a little love in there. Don't get me wrong, I don't do this every day, but it's a real treat to have the time to, fully relax, because this is the spot in my neck and in my jaw where I hold all of my stress. I recently listened to a podcast that talked about how stress and trauma gets lodged in your body in a physical way. And if you have back problems, upper back and shoulder problems, it could totally be from stress. And to be realistic, this is maybe the most stressful time that a lot of us have ever experienced. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of, not to stress you guys out. But if you're ever in pain and you don't know why, just maybe that's an indication that you have to check in on some mental things and some emotional things. So that was great. We just gave ourselves a really nice face massage, and we're gonna keep stretching. So those stretches that I showed you with the head, you don't have to do this now, but a really good way to make that a better stretch is to take your hand and put it on the bottom of a chair. And then this becomes, if you're sitting on a chair now, try that. You'll feel that it just gets so much more intense. So that's something you can take with you. We don't have to do that now. So if you're sitting on the floor like me, actually, you should all be sitting on the floor because it's fun to sit on the floor. We're gonna do just a total side extension. I don't know what the technical name for this is, but I like to take one of my arms and put it on the opposite knee or leg or side. You're gonna take your other hand and go behind your ear, like you're brushing through your hair, and just lean right over, and you'll feel the stretch all the way down, especially if you do that behind motion. Remembering those same breaths, and with each one, see if you can reach a little bit further, lean over a little bit more. And we'll hold this for a couple of seconds. If it's uncomfortable, don't push it. It totally opens this up where your breath is going, and it just facilitates your breathing. So then the next one, arm across, and other arm behind your neck, reaching. And breathe into it. If you breathe into that side body, you'll really feel this stretch come to life. And hold that. I feel all the blood rushing to my arm. Interesting. I don't think I've ever been aware of that feeling. Okay, great. Let's reach up. And you're gonna grab your wrist like this and just pull that up. This is gonna be more for the top parts of that stretch. Same stretch, but just moving it up a bit. And other wrist, grab your other wrist. And reach. Great. So if you can see my legs down here, we're gonna do, I don't know what it's called. To me, it's called the butterfly. We're gonna get into this little pose. If you've got to be out here, that's cool. If you can be here, also cool. It takes a little bit of practice, but that's the stretch we're gonna be doing next. So the most important thing about this one is actually the breath again. So you're gonna take an inhale, and you're gonna lower a little bit, just a tiny bit. And we're gonna do this for a couple rounds of breath on your own time. Every time you take a breath, try to just relax into it. Don't push anything forward, but relax into it. And for the next couple of breaths, see how far you can go without hurting yourself. This is a great stretch for a lot of parts of your body. So inhale and let go into that stretch. Keep going. If you get stopped at a place, don't worry about it. Just take some time there. do this one a lot, so eventually I can get my forehead to my toes and smell my feet. And just relax here for a couple of seconds. Let your neck go. And just breathe into your back, into your lower back. And we're gonna roll up. Nice. Great. That one's really fun for me. Staying in here, maybe shake it out a little bit, butterfly it out. We're gonna sort of put our hands here and we're gonna lean and we're just gonna circle with our back. And if you do this really slowly, you'll get a great side and lower back stretch. So we're circling all the way around. Make sure your neck isn't tense and you're just relaxing the rest of your body. You should feel this. Like we did those head rolls earlier. Surround. This one you can go back into it. And I feel this one in my upper back almost. So we'll go around one way, really slow, just trying to feel wherever you're holding some tension. And we'll go around the other way. Great. While we're down here, this isn't really a singing thing, but I feel like I want to extend my legs and fold over, try to grab your toes, but you know, this is not really related. I just felt like doing it. So you guys can join me. And if you point your feet at the end, you can even feel a stretch in the front of your feet, which is sort of strange, but that's a fun place that we don't spend a lot of attention. We don't give a lot of attention to. So, okay, cool. That's gonna be it for being on the ground. I'm gonna get us to stand up, but don't stand up yet. So find yourself in a position where you can get on your toes and forward fold over. Forward fold is a yoga term just for this thing. So you're leaned over. I'll go this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. You don't have to touch the ground or anything, but we're bent over, and we're gonna count down from 10. And when we get to 10, you're gonna be standing up, nice and straight. Your head's gonna feel like you're floating. Remember to roll as if each vertebrae is, stacking on top of one of each other. Keep a bend in your knees, a slight bend in your knees. All right, guys ready? We're rolling up in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now we're standing. And my head feels, I just sort of feel like a rag doll. Like there's a string at the top of my head and it's just, floating around. My knees are a little bit bent. My pelvis, instead of, arching up and back, is the slightest bit tilted inwards. My shoulders are relaxed. And my chin, I'm explaining singing posture right now, so this is how you should be when you're about to sing. My chin is the slightest bit tucked, so especially people with glasses tend to go like this and look through the world like this, especially if your glasses come off your face. I'm guilty of that. But your head should just be, you should be able to look straight, immediately straight. You shouldn't be looking up or down, just, nice and relaxed and straight. So give your head a nod, or no, I guess. We can give it a yes. And find a nice floaty middle. So We're gonna do that same thing one more time because it just feels so great. So we're gonna bend over. This time when we bend over, cross your arms like you're mad. You'll bend over and this will it'll just hang and your head can go in that space. And we're gonna do that same thing again, that yes and then that no. So you're bent over, your knees are a little bit bent. We're gonna shake, yes. And just feel how free your neck feels. And then shake now. All right, you guys ready? Your arms can release and we'll go back up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're up. And you guys can stay standing. I'm gonna sit down so I can, see you all. You might be wondering why we're spending so much time not singing yet. And it's just, for that reason that our bodies are our instrument. It's just warming up your instrument. So last thing we're gonna do with our bodies that is gonna, make you feel silly, and we're all feeling silly together. So we're gonna totally just stretch out our face. Even make it a yawn. If you make it a yawn, you're stretching all the muscles in here. So big yawns. And raise your eyebrows. And then yawn again. You'll feel a raising in your cheeks. My favorite one is the eyebrow stretch. All of this, you can even, get a little massage. I hope you guys can feel that in the back of your throat stretch, because that's a really important part. But yeah, we've pretty much stretched our whole face at this point. If you want to keep yawning, if that feels good for you, keep doing that. But at this point, we're gonna get into some singing, finally. So we've just physically warmed up, and now we're gonna vocally warm up, which is kind of a different thing, even though it's still physical. So remember that posture I told you, keep that in mind, that breath in mind, breathing into our stomachs, and that posture where your head is floating and your knees are a little bit bent, and you're just totally relaxed. We're gonna start with a lip trill, and that looks like this. You're just taking a big breath in, and you're just going, and you might spit everywhere like I just did, but that's fine. So we're inhaling, and we're just going. It can be low, it can be high. My favorite one's gonna start high. Yeah, let's actually turn the mics on so we can hear this, because it sounds funny. Can you do that for us? Are we on? I'm just gonna keep going. Follow me and we'll hear each other eventually. Ready? Inhale. And it's a funny thing. So now we've gotten the hang of that. If anybody doesn't have the hang of that, let me know, because sometimes it can be hard. Another thing you can do, if you can, not as effective, because we're really trying to, get all this stuff loose. So just totally, just relax it all. Blow it right out. So we're gonna do that lip trill. We are going to do it in a little scale. So we're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice. We're gonna do it a little bit lower. Do, 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 do. And then we're gonna keep going. So just follow along with me. That breath. do 2 more because I can't do anymore. Last one. Nice. So at this point, you should feel your lips almost buzzing. If you've ever played a horn instrument before, like a trumpet or something, you'll know that feeling where your lips are tingly, and it actually is a great singing thing because it forces your sound to come forward. So when I'm talking about forward, I'm talking about a term that we use in singing called singing into the mask. So it's almost as if your vocal cords don't exist, and the production of your sound is coming right from this area. So the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Say that with me. The tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. That's where the sound comes out. So just ignore the rest of this. This should not be considered. The sound should be coming as if you're using your consonants, so t, t, p, p, l, 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 as a diving board for the sound to bounce off. And this is where that letting go phrase comes in handy. You're just gonna let the sound just bounce right off of the consonants. So that's where that lip trill thing comes in handy. So I'll quickly mention your head voice versus your chest voice. Your head voice is up here, and it usually sounds pretty hairy. And your chest voice is this one where it's more speaky and it's loud and it's boomy. What we're looking for is that forward sort of mix. So I could go, and that's all head voice. Or if I put a little bit of chest voice into it and place it really forward, so that tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips spot, I can go, instead of being, oh, Larry, I'm really not supported. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking support in the breath and that forwardness. Ear mix voice is what it's called. That's where we want to. That's where we want to be. For this one, we'll unmute everyone. That was, yeah. We should be unmuting. So let's do. I'm gonna teach you. Actually, first, let's focus on that mixed voice. So a good exercise to really feel that is, I don't know what it's called. It's not something it's called. It's just, an exercise, and it sounds like this. So I almost think of it, I'm like turning a key when I get to the top of that little exercise. So so try that one with me. Breath.
That's what you
Yeah, I hear some singing going on. That's nice.
Yeah, if you guys are hearing me, nobody should be shy.
I think I only hear you.
Can we unmute everyone, Kevin?
So Ramona, we did do that, but also the system we're using is there is one microphone that'll probably mute like.
Oh, I see.
Anyways, everyone who wants to be unmuted is unmuted right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that exercise is really good for, often when we go up, it's called your break. So you go, that little break where I switched into the awareness is what we're trying to avoid. So by doing the you're gonna roll right through that break. So we'll keep going. Let's go a little bit higher. And if you're hearing or you're afraid of your break about to happen, push the sound forward. Just let it go, loosen up, lighten up, and aim it forward. Aim as if it's coming right out of your nose, like you have a unicorn horn or something. We'll keep going. funny with me and Ramona singing. But yeah, that's a great one to bring into your vocal warm-up when you go ahead and do your vocal warm-up. I'm going to quickly show us, because this is a choir workshop, a good choir vocal warm-up. It's called I Love My Mother, and if you've been in a choir before, you might know it. Sounds like this. I love my mother, 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 I love my mother. So it sounds totally intimidating, but you might know that tune. We'll do a repeat after me version of it, so you guys can try to remember it, okay? So I'll go, and then you go immediately after me. Ready? I love my mother, I love my mother.
I love my mother, I love my mother.
So the latency and everybody's mics want to make it sound really funny, but maybe we'll do that on purpose. Try to ignore everybody else. This will be fun. So the first one's, I love my mother, I love my mother.
I love my mother, I love my mother.
I love my mother, I love.
I love my mother, I love.
Yeah. My mother, I love my mother.
My mother, I love my mother.
So we'll do that part all together, just first. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother,
I love my mother. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother.
Yeah, that's it. It might actually be too hard to have our mics on for this. So maybe I'll ask to have them off, and we'll do it all together at the end. Kevin, could you turn those mics off for me? Okay, I think they're off. Thank you. Okay, now I should be unmuted. Can you guys hear me? Yes, okay, great. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother. Do that. Ready? 2, 3, go. I love my mother. I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother. Cool. So we'll go from that top part. My mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, If this is super confusing, don't worry. We'll do it from the top and see if you can follow along as much as possible. 1, 2, 3, sing it with me. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, 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 I love my mother. So it's just I love my mother over and over again if you're confused by the phrasing. Try to remember what the melody is and the words will come after. We'll do it a couple more times. And then we'll see if we'll do it without the mics muted, and it'll just sound like a mess, but it'll be funny. And then you can take this to your choir later. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, 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 I love my mother. Who has it? Does anybody got it? Give me a little yes if you've got it in the chat. Yeah? Some people kind of got it? We'll do it twice more. I'll do it twice in a row, and then we'll sing it with all the mics unmuted. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, 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 I love my mother. 2, here we go. I love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, 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 I love my mother. Okay. Kevin, could you unmute us all, please? Or whoever wants to be, you can, I guess, remute yourself if you don't want to be involved in this, but it'll sound like a mess and it'll be fun.
I think I'm going to do a lot of la la la.
Yeah, if you don't have the words down, that's totally fine too. We're just going to have fun and be silly for a second. Okay, cool. I'm excited to hear all you guys. We ready? Do we want to do it a little bit slower? Is that really fast?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, we'll do it. 1, 2, 3, let's go. I love my
Love my mother, I love my mother. I love my mother, I love
my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother, Cool. So it sounded like a mess for me. I don't know if it sounded like a mess for you guys, but
Yep.
I think most of you got it. That's cool. Great. Let's keep going. I would say that I'm warmed up, and I hope you guys are too. And I'm gonna introduce the song that we're gonna sing. You all know it. I'm gonna put the lyrics in the chat. So basically, wow, a great mess. Yes, totally a great mess. We're gonna be singing this song, Beatles tune, because the Beatles are great, and it's a happy song, and it's positive, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're gonna be. I've recorded a video that will be emailed to you later, post this workshop, and you're gonna record. Hopefully, if you've got an earphone and like your device, you can play this video here and sing along with it on a separate device, or however you record stuff. As long as you have two different devices, it'll work. So it's Here Comes the Sun, and it's just me playing it with my guitar, and yeah, so you record on top of it, and then we are going to, once we've got your videos on Friday, by Friday, I guess, for our little debrief, we're gonna put it all together, and we're gonna create a virtual choir, not like the one that you saw with the Imagine Mess. The Imagine Mess. I don't. That was rude. Sorry to the celebrities who did that, but it won't be like that. It's gonna be all of us stacked on top of each other, and hopefully it'll be fun. On Friday, I'll like adjudicate the choir as if we were there, doing it together. It'll just be fun. But I'll get us. We're muted again. Great. So I've got those words here. I'll play for you how I'm playing the tune in the video. And then we'll do it again. Or if you want to sing along with me right now, totally go ahead. But this is what the video will sound like. I also just learned it yesterday, so excuse my guitar playing. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. So that's the video. It's about a minute long, and it's just chorus, verse, chorus. So we'll get you guys to sing along with it. I kept the melody like simple, and there's no, personal inflections for me. Thank you. I didn't add anything crazy to it. So if you guys want to, sing a harmony, which they're actually a little bit difficult on this song. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun. That's one of the harmonies, but we don't have to worry about it unless you want to, which would be great. And you can sing a harmony on top of my melody, or just go ahead and sing the melody. So let's do it together. I'll keep your mics muted, though, so we don't have that latency issue. But hopefully you guys will sing it with me. And as we're doing this, pretend it's, an exercise. So remember that breath and your singing posture, and hopefully that placement, keeping things forward. But yeah, let's go again. We'll play it the exact same way. comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Mike is still on. Ramona, is that you? No, it's not Ramona.
It's not me.
All right, well, it doesn't matter. We can just hear two voices, but that's fine. Ready? First verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Great. So that's what we'll be singing all together. I hope you like the song choice. I had a lot of trouble picking the right song, but I think that is the right one. Such a perfect day for the song. Totally, it's beautiful out. I hope you guys, wherever you are, having a beautiful day, like I am. So, yeah, that link will be sent to you guys with, it'll be a Google Drive, I think, and you'll record your little video and you'll upload it there or on Instagram using the hashtag communitiescreate, and we'll take it. If you guys could do both, actually, I'm sure that would be easier for editing's sake, because we're just gonna, extract the audio and stack it all together. And when you're making that video, think about the things that I've told you. Do a warm up. It doesn't have to be as involved with the stretching as the one that we did today. But whatever you remember, whatever you took away, or just, try and write some things down after this, maybe some of the warm ups you liked or the stretches that you were interested in. And yeah, that's it, I guess. Yes, any final questions for me if you want to ask them?
I'll ask a question.
Yes, Ramona.
So if our voice is cracking, which mine is probably going to, can you repeat, because you were saying, is it just pushing it forward and using our
so
note?
Yeah, it's a good question. So if your voice is cracking, that means you're switching over into your break. So that mixed voice that I talked about. So it's I wouldn't use the word pushing forward because that makes it seem like you're using more energy. Actually, I would say breathe and then use less energy. Just let go of the sound. And if you have to use that airy voice, that's totally fine. That'll just, add to blend. But also, if your voice cracks and it doesn't seem to be not cracking, don't worry, because we'll be in a choir of a bunch of people and it'll be blended in. So that's what I would answer. So other questions, Lauren, how can we contact you to follow up for more exercises? So yes, I will put my email in the chat right now if you want to contact me for other stuff. Also, I'll put my Instagram, which is @progmom. So I am always on Instagram. I'm not always on Instagram. I've actually been really good about not using my phone lately. So yeah, you can contact me that way. And I'll be happy to help you with whatever you like. Also, there'll be that follow-up video or workshop, not a workshop, just a Zoom call, I think on Friday. I don't remember what time that is. Does anybody know what time that workshop is? Is it 12 again?
Noon on Friday.
Noon on Friday. Cool. So yeah.
Questions here. One is someone's asking if they can be recording with an instrument like a guitar, and someone else is asking, should it be audio or just and video or just audio? I think both would be.
I think audio and video will be good. If you give us both, then we can, use both. Will you be recording with an instrument? If you feel proficient enough that you can, play exactly in time with my guitar playing, that'll be the bass take though. So, or if you want to add like a shaker or something, totally go ahead. I would say maybe not a guitar, since mine's already there. And this is, you know, a singing thing, a choir thing. We're going to focus on the choir aspect. So unless you're really wanting to and you think you can, you know, do it without any discrepancies for editing and when we layer the sound, because we're just going to be matching the sound up with our ears. Like, there's not really a better way to do that. So we want it to sound, you know, together. So that's what I would say. Unless you're super confident, I would avoid it. Yeah. If you guys have any questions later for me, if anything comes up or you want to know anything else, yeah, just contact me using those things that I gave you. Yes, and that video will be linked to you soon. Yeah, I guess just to finish up, thank you for joining me. This was fun, and it was good to, you know, feel like I'm singing with some real people, because I've missed that quite a bit. So yeah, thank you so much. Ramona, I'll pass it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Lauren. That was great. Does everyone know the ASL clapping? I know in these Zoom calls, when we clap out loud, it can get pretty overwhelming, but some shaking of our hands is a really great way to clap when we're in these calls. That was wonderful. The workshop, the exercises were great, but the choir together, my excitement to see how this virtual choir comes together is through the roof. It was just so lovely to do all this, as you said, all the singing together. So thank you so much. And thank you, Humber, for being our partner with Communities Create for this session. It was such a wonderful session and the perfect song for today, absolutely. I want to thank everyone who's in our live stream today and also everyone who's watching the live stream elsewhere. A few pieces of housekeeping. Next week, Artscape is our partner host, and they've got a session on writing the blues. So it's on music again, it's on the blues. It's very much about writing lyrics together. So that'll be wonderful. If you're new this week and you want to catch up on some of the previous sessions, in our archives, you can see the archives on communitiescreate.ca. There's a session on photography, there's a session on comedy, a session on podcasting. There's some really great stuff in there. Again, there's a listening party on Friday. So if you are creating content, and even for people who listen to this recording or watch this recording back, please participate. Send us your version of Here Comes the Sun, and we'll include it. And then we'll be listening back on Friday at noon. We'll be sending out that link to everyone who is a participant. Finally, we've got a mental health debrief with Diana Breacher and her team. We've also got some online crisis resources. So if you find that you're in need of those kinds of resources, they're online on communitiescreate.ca in our resource section. I'm going to hand it over to Diana. Everyone is welcome to stay and have a conversation. It's always so interesting to talk about how creative output and creative exercises make us feel, but you're also welcome to go. The stream will stop, recording will stop. Thanks everyone again. I'm going to say bye to everyone who's leaving, who's going to tune out now, and we'll take a moment just to reset, and then I will pass it over to you, Diana. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good week.